Did you know that some of the most life-changing decisions can begin in the time it takes to take a deep breath? That's right. In just a brief moment of pause, the course of your life can shift dramatically, for better or for worse. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Stoicism, a philosophy that has empowered leaders, thinkers, and individuals across centuries to seize that crucial moment between stimulus and response. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca weren't just philosophers. They were practitioners of a way of life where every decision was a chance to lead a more meaningful existence. In this guide, we'll uncover the power of thoughtful action and explore how, with a few simple Stoic strategies, you can transform your daily decisions and ultimately your life. Whether you're deciding on a career move, managing relationships, or choosing where to invest your energy, the wisdom of Stoicism can guide you to clearer, more deliberate paths. Over the next 30 days, you will learn how to create space between stimulus and response, use rational analysis to make better decisions, master emotional resilience, and align your actions with your core values. Each day offers a chance to practice these techniques and refine your thinking. By the end of this month, you'll be able to embrace life's challenges with clarity and calm, harnessing the wisdom of the Stoics to thrive, not just survive. Let's dive into how to make the next 30 days count by adopting a Stoic's approach to clear thinking and thoughtful living. Chapter 1. The Pause, where wisdom begins. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the idea that between what happens to us and how we respond, there is a moment, a brief pause. This gap, this moment of pause, is where true wisdom can flourish. But this pause isn't about freezing up or avoiding life's challenges. It's about taking control. It's about giving yourself the chance to respond with intention rather than reacting on autopilot. This simple act of pausing, though small, can lead to dramatic changes in how we approach life's challenges. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the opinions we form about those events. It is in the pause, between the event and our response, that we can take control of how we perceive and handle the situation. Why is the pause so powerful? Think about the last time you reacted too quickly. Maybe you snapped at a friend or made a hasty decision that you later regretted. In those moments, if you had just taken a moment to breathe, to really consider your next move, things might have turned out differently. This is what the Stoics understood. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, often wrote about the space between stimulus and response. He believed this space is where we hold our true power. It's our opportunity to align our actions with our values, ensuring we aren't merely reacting to impulses, but acting in a way that's true to ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, frequently reflected on the importance of self-control. He taught that external events are beyond our control, but our inner responses are entirely within our power. The ability to pause and reflect before reacting represents the highest form of freedom, the freedom to choose how we respond, regardless of the circumstances. Implementing the power of pause. So, how can we start implementing this powerful pause in our everyday lives? Start with the 5-second rule. Before reacting to anything, be it an annoying email, a stressful request from your boss, or even the urge to skip your morning workout, count down from 5. During those 5 seconds, take a deep breath and remind yourself who you are and what you stand for. These few seconds can shift your response from a knee-jerk reaction to a thoughtful response. This 5-second pause is a crucial tool for emotional regulation and decision-making. By giving yourself just a few seconds, you disengage from the impulse to react and re-engage your rational mind, which is more aligned with your long-term goals and values. For decisions that aren't as urgent, there's the 24-hour rule. This technique is particularly useful for bigger, life-impacting decisions. Give yourself a full day to mull things over. This doesn't mean obsessing for 24 hours straight, but allowing yourself time to sleep on it, discuss it with a trusted friend or mentor, or simply let your subconscious process it while you go about your day. The 24-hour rule is a great way to diffuse the emotional charge of a situation. Often, strong emotions like anger, frustration, or anxiety can cloud our judgment. By delaying action for a day, we give those emotions time to settle, allowing us to approach the decision with a calmer, clearer mind. Often, this pause helps dissolve the fog of urgency and emotion, revealing a clearer, more reasoned path forward. And in the long term, practicing the art of the pause cultivates a habit of thoughtfulness and deliberation, which allows for more meaningful decision-making. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote about how patience and calm are essential for making good decisions. He believed that rushing into decisions based on emotion is a recipe for regret, while deliberation leads to wiser, more virtuous outcomes. Chapter 2. Seeing the world through Stoic lenses. In Stoicism, one of the most powerful techniques for gaining clarity is learning to shift your perspective. Sometimes, all it takes to solve a problem or ease a burden is a fresh perspective. This idea taps into a core Stoic principle: our judgments and reactions shape our reality more than the external events themselves. In other words, it's not what happens to us that causes distress, but how we interpret it. By changing how we view the world, we can change our emotional and mental response to it. The Stoics understood that most of our suffering comes not from the events themselves, but from how we interpret them. As Epictetus taught, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. By reframing our perspective, we can transform how we experience the world. The view from above. One of the most effective Stoic techniques for shifting perspective is the view from above. This exercise involves imagining yourself zooming out of your current situation. Picture yourself rising above your life, above your city, and seeing everything from a higher, broader perspective. From this vantage point, the things that seem overwhelming up close begin to shrink in significance. The view from above allows you to see your problems in context. You begin to realize that what seemed so urgent or frustrating is often just a small part of a much larger whole. This technique is rooted in cosmic perspective, a Stoic concept that encourages us to see ourselves and our problems in the grand scheme of the universe. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, often emphasized the importance of putting our struggles into context. He believed that viewing problems from a distant perspective helps us prioritize what truly matters and let go of what doesn't. For example, let's say you're facing a conflict at work, and it's causing you significant stress. From the view from above, you can imagine yourself floating above the situation, seeing not just the problem, but also the broader context of your career, your relationships, and your life as a whole. This broader view helps you realize that this one issue, while difficult, is only one piece of a much larger life. It loses some of its power to overwhelm you when you see it in this light. Role reversal. Another useful Stoic technique for shifting perspective is role reversal. This involves imagining how someone else would handle your situation. You could ask yourself, how would Marcus Aurelius or Seneca respond? Or think about how a mentor, a respected friend, or even a fictional character might deal with the problem. Role reversal allows you to step outside of your own head and see things through a new lens. This can be particularly helpful when you feel stuck or when you're too emotionally invested in a problem to see it clearly. By imagining how someone else might approach the situation, you gain valuable insight and often come up with solutions you hadn't previously considered. Alternatively, consider what advice you would give a friend in your predicament. This can be surprisingly effective. Often, we are more compassionate and reasonable with others than we are with ourselves. When we take on the role of the advisor, rather than the person in distress, we naturally adopt a more balanced, thoughtful approach. This technique helps you step outside of your emotional response and gain some objectivity. It also encourages empathy, a crucial Stoic virtue. The Stoics believed that wisdom comes not just from intellectual reasoning, but also from understanding the experiences of others. By practicing the view from above and role reversal, we can begin to see our challenges more clearly and objectively. These perspective-shifting techniques teach us that flexibility in thought leads to better decision-making and a more compassionate understanding of others. By regularly practicing this shift in perspective, you not only gain clarity, but also cultivate humility, another key Stoic virtue. When you realize how small your problems are in the grand scheme of the universe, it becomes easier to approach life's challenges with a calm, centered mindset. Chapter 3. Mastering Emotional Resilience. Managing our emotions is a critical skill in Stoicism. The Stoics didn't believe in suppressing emotions. Instead, they taught that we must understand and navigate our emotions wisely, ensuring that they don't dictate our decisions. The Stoics saw emotions like anger, fear, and sadness as natural responses to life's events. However, they believed that we can learn to control our emotional reactions through practice and reflection. They taught that emotional resilience, or what the Stoics called apatheia, freedom from destructive emotions, is essential for a rational and fulfilling life. Naming the emotion. One simple yet effective method for managing emotions is naming the emotion. When you feel overwhelmed by an emotion, whether it's anger, anxiety, or sadness, pause and name it. Say it out loud or in your mind. I am feeling angry, or I am experiencing anxiety. This simple act of labeling the emotion creates distance between you and the feeling. It helps you remember that you are not the anger or the anxiety. You are experiencing it, but it doesn't define you. The Stoics were deeply aware of how emotions can hijack our thinking. By naming the emotion, you begin to take a step back from it, viewing it as something separate from your core self. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, emphasized that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of those events. By naming the emotion, we start to disentangle ourselves from the feeling and see it for what it really is, a temporary state that doesn't have to dictate our actions. The Stoics' pause. Another effective tool for emotional management is the Stoics' pause. This is about taking a literal pause before reacting to emotional triggers. When something upsets you, whether it's a heated conversation or an unexpected setback, take a deep breath. Count to 3. Let the breath fill you slowly and then exhale. This pause allows your rational mind to catch up with your emotional response. The Stoics' pause can be thought of as a mini version of the larger pause principle we discussed earlier. It gives you a chance to prevent your emotions from taking over and leading you into actions you might later regret. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This pause is a reminder of your power over your mind. It's not about avoiding emotion. It's about choosing how to respond in a way that aligns with your values and goals, rather than being ruled by impulses. Building long-term resilience. These methods, naming the emotion and the Stoics' pause, are powerful tools for managing your emotional state in the moment. But to build long-term emotional resilience, you need to train your mind consistently, just like you would train a muscle. The Stoics believed that by cultivating the right mental habits, we could achieve inner peace even in the face of external turmoil. Over time, practicing these techniques will help you build the resilience to face life's challenges with equanimity and grace. Emotional resilience, in the Stoic sense, means not being carried away by the highs and lows of life. It's about maintaining a steady mind and recognizing that emotions, while important, should never be the driving force behind our decisions. The Stoics believed that reason should always guide our actions, with emotions being acknowledged but not controlling. Over the next 30 days, make a conscious effort to practice naming your emotions and using the Stoics' pause when you feel emotionally charged. By doing so, you will develop greater emotional resilience and gain more control over your actions. Chapter 4. Rational Analysis in Stoic Decision-Making. One of the key Stoic principles for making better decisions is the practice of rational analysis. The Stoics believed in examining every decision carefully and rationally, weighing the options and considering the consequences. The ability to think clearly and rationally, without being clouded by emotion or impulse, is one of the cornerstones of Stoic philosophy. Seneca, in his letters, wrote about the importance of making decisions based on reason rather than passion. He advised that we take the time to think things through logically, considering the pros and cons before taking action. The pros and cons. List. One simple yet effective tool for rational analysis is the pros and cons list. When faced with a decision, simply draw two columns. In one column, write down all the potential benefits of the decision. In the other, list the possible drawbacks. This visual representation allows you to weigh the advantages against the disadvantages in a clear, structured manner. It's a technique that echoes the Stoic emphasis on objective assessment, seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. This exercise also helps to strip away the emotional biases that often cloud our judgment. When we write down the pros and cons, we engage our rational mind and remove ourselves from the emotional state that might be influencing us. Worst-case scenario planning. Another useful Stoic technique for rational decision-making is considering the worst-case scenario. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? This question isn't meant to be pessimistic. Rather, it's about preparedness and perspective. By understanding the worst possible outcome, you can assess whether you are capable of handling it and how likely it is to occur. This technique reduces the fear and anxiety that often cloud our decision-making process. For example, if you're worried about a job interview, you might ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? The worst-case scenario might be that you don't get the job. Once you've acknowledged that possibility, you can start thinking about how you would handle it. Perhaps you would apply for another job or use the experience to improve your interview skills. By planning for the worst, you reduce its emotional impact and empower yourself to move forward confidently. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, suggested that we periodically practice the hardships we fear. By doing so, we demystify those fears and reduce their emotional impact. For example, if you're worried about financial hardship, you might try living on a very limited budget for a week to prove to yourself that you can handle it if it comes. Rational analysis in the Stoic sense is about more than just making good decisions. It's about aligning those decisions with your values, goals, and the realities of your situation. It encourages us not only to think more clearly, but also to live more wisely. By consistently applying rational analysis to your decisions, you will not only improve the quality of your choices, but also reduce the emotional stress that comes with decision-making. Chapter 5. Living in accordance with your values. Stoicism teaches us that having a strong set of values isn't just about moral high ground. It's about creating a foundation upon which every thought, decision, and action can build. Your values are your internal compass, guiding you through life's complexities. For the Stoics, living a good life meant living in accordance with nature, which includes living in harmony with our own true nature. This means aligning our actions with our deepest principles and values, regardless of the external circumstances. The integrity check. One key technique to ensure your decisions align with your values is what I like to call the integrity check. Whenever you face a decision, big or small, ask yourself, does this align with my core values? Is this choice going to enhance my character or diminish it? By questioning how your actions reflect your values, you are practicing what the Stoics consider the essence of wisdom, living according to nature, which includes your own true nature. Reflecting on whether your actions help or hinder your ability to live up to your principles isn't just about avoiding regret. It's about actively shaping a life you can be proud of. This integrity check is a powerful way to ensure that your actions are consistent with your long-term goals and principles. It helps you avoid decisions that may provide short-term satisfaction, but are at odds with your deeper values. The "Would I respect myself?" test. Another powerful method is the "Would I respect myself?" test. This involves looking at your decision through the lens of public scrutiny. Ask yourself, would I feel comfortable and proud if my decision were known to others? It's a thought experiment that brings clarity and honesty into your decision-making process. If the thought of everyone knowing your choice makes you uncomfortable, it might be worth reconsidering. This technique is similar to what modern psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the discomfort we feel when our actions are out of alignment with our beliefs. The Stoics understood that when we act in ways that conflict with our values, we experience inner turmoil. The "Would I respect myself?" test helps to keep us aligned with our highest ideals. It's a straightforward way to ensure that your actions not only align with your values, but are also actions you would openly stand by. When you practice the integrity check and the "Would I respect myself?" test regularly, you build a habit of acting in alignment with your virtues. This habit not only improves the quality of your decisions, but also helps you cultivate self-respect and inner peace. Chapter 6. Seeking wisdom from others. While Stoicism teaches self-reliance and the importance of personal judgment, it also emphasizes the wisdom in learning from others. No person is an island, and sometimes an outside perspective is the key to unlocking insights we might have missed. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, believed that wisdom is a collaborative process. We gain insight not only from our own experiences, but also from the experiences of others. This principle is reflected in Marcus Aurelius's personal writings, where he frequently acknowledged the mentors and teachers who shaped his thinking. Consulting a mentor. One practical technique is consulting a mentor. Whether it's a trusted advisor, a respected friend, or a professional mentor, these individuals bring with them a wealth of experience and knowledge. They can offer advice that is not only insightful, but also objective, given their emotional distance from your dilemmas. For example, if you're facing a difficult career decision, a mentor who has navigated similar challenges can offer guidance based on their own experiences. Their advice can help you see your situation from a different perspective, providing clarity where you might feel confused or uncertain. Marcus Aurelius, himself a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, had teachers and advisors to whom he turned for guidance. He recognized that wisdom doesn't come from solitary contemplation alone, but also from the shared human experience. The two heads are better than one technique. Another approach is the two heads are better than one technique. This involves discussing your thoughts and plans with a small group of trusted individuals. Each person's unique perspective can shed light on different facets of your situation, illuminating possibilities and pitfalls you might not have considered. This method reinforces the Stoic belief in community and mutual support as essential components of a well-lived life. The Stoics believed in the power of dialogue. By engaging with others in meaningful conversations about our challenges, we refine our thoughts and strengthen our resolve. Dialogue encourages us to question our assumptions and broaden our understanding of the world. So, when you're at a crossroads, don't hesitate to seek counsel. Reach out to those mentors who inspire you and engage in meaningful discussions with peers who challenge and support you. Chapter 7. Reflecting on experience and growing from it. The Stoics believed that experience is one of our greatest teachers. Reflecting on our past decisions, both good and bad, allows us to learn and grow. This reflective process is a key part of Stoic self-examination, which involves regularly reviewing our actions to ensure they are aligned with our values and goals. One technique for this is post-mortem analysis. After a decision has played out, whether it was successful or not, take time to reflect on it. Ask yourself, what went well? What didn't? What could I learn from this? This reflective practice is deeply Stoic and aligns with how Marcus Aurelius used his meditations to develop his philosophy. He would reflect on his day, analyzing how he responded to events, what he could improve upon, and how he could live more in accordance with his principles. Future self-reflection. Another valuable Stoic practice is future self-reflection. This involves imagining how your future self would view your current decisions. Imagine yourself a few years from now, looking back at the choice you're about to make. What would your future self say? Would they be proud of the decision? Would they regret it? This thought experiment helps to align your decisions with your long-term goals and the person you aspire to be. It's a way to ensure that you're making choices that reflect your highest aspirations, not just your immediate desires. Learning from mistakes. The Stoics believed that mistakes are opportunities for growth. When we reflect on our failures with a clear and rational mind, we can extract valuable lessons that make us wiser and more resilient. Seneca famously said, "To err is human, but to persist in the error is of the devil." The Stoic path to wisdom involves acknowledging our mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward with a renewed commitment to virtue. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Each of the techniques we've explored, from mastering the power of pause to practicing rational analysis, shifting perspectives, and aligning your actions with your values, is designed to help you live a more thoughtful, deliberate life. Over the next 30 days, you will have the opportunity to apply these principles in your daily decisions. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity for growth and refinement. By practicing Stoicism, you are not just reacting to life, you are actively shaping it. You are making choices that align with your deepest values, cultivating resilience, and embracing life's challenges with equanimity. As you move forward, keep striving towards a life of virtue, wisdom, and clarity. Stay thoughtful and embrace the power of Stoic thinking as you continue your journey.